It was tough. It was scrappy. It was not what we expected. The Yankees did win a series against the Chicago White Sox on the back of Juan Soto and Aaron Judge's 300th home run. What's going on, guys? The king of 161st Street. I'm back another video, and Aaron Judge has just hit his 300th home run, the fastest in Major League Baseball history to get that feat done by 135 games. So basically, the next best player, Ralph Kiner, would have to get to about this point in the season a whole nother time to get this feat done. Aaron Judge is one of the best power hitters I've ever seen. But this begs the question, where does Aaron Judge rank among power hitters all time? This is an interesting question because Aaron Judge, realistically, we're not going to see 50 home runs a season for too much longer. He's already 32. He just got to 300 home runs. Let's say, because Yankees fans really want him to get back to 62 again, that would be about 20 more home runs over the next month and a half. It's doable. Let's be more realistic. 15 home runs in a month and a half, to me, sounds pretty realistic for a guy like Aaron Judge. So he ends this season 315 home runs. He's already 32, playing a very athlete position, a lot of wear and tear on your legs in center. How many more years do we expect Aaron Judge to be at this peak level? Some people thought this would have been the year he plateaued. When does that happen? Because knowing that Aaron Judge is 6'7" and taller guys tend to wash up a little quicker than the shorter guys, it's important because Aaron Judge may single-handedly change the whole entire argument on who the best power hitters in baseball history are. Aaron Judge at this moment in time does not seem to be able to get to the feats that Bonds did, or Ruth, or even Alex Rodriguez, because he would have to do what he's done in his career already for another 6 to 8 seasons. That would put him at 38 years old, 38 to 40. Do we believe he can be as consistent as he was for another 8 more years? I doubt that. So he will not have the counting stats that most of the best power hitters in baseball history do. The Hank Aaron, who have over 700. You have Babe Ruth, who had over 700. Barry Bonds, even A-Rod, above 600. Aaron Judge may not be able to get to those feats. In a lot of ways, he still deserves to be talked about at that level, at that upper room level of, if I had a longer period, if I had Juan Soto's career, where I started at 19 and was doing this consistently, he could be, at this point in his career, at 32 years old, he could be far above 400 home runs, on his way to 600, 700 home runs. The time frame of his career makes it very difficult to gauge where he belongs, because I could understand an argument, well, longevity does matter, and he didn't get to some of the milestones some of the others did, so it drops him down a peg. But I also am under the mindset, look at this feat he just got. He just hit his 300th home run 135 games faster than anyone in MLB history. That tells me if he had the time to be able to go another 10 years, he could be at 500. He just doesn't have that time on his hand. So what I mean by he may single-handedly change the argument, he may become one of the main guys that gets into that upper room based on prime. Because Aaron Judge's prime, from 2017 to now, this 7-year window, it's probably the best 7-year window a Major League Baseball player has ever had in their career. And that involves injuries at times. This is not a full 7 seasons, but over those 7 seasons, Aaron Judge has hit heights that only steroid users can rival. Only Barry Bonds, really, can rival what Aaron Judge has done. To me, he belongs as a top 5 power hitter of all time if he keeps this up for a bit longer. I don't know how much longer he has. I'm going to appreciate the greatness we have in front of us for the time we have it, because I know there's a finite amount of times we will be able to appreciate. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Aaron Judge belongs in that upper room of players? Or are you under the mindset that longevity matters and hitting certain milestones is what gets you to that upper room? Let me know down below. But let's get into some other news. This time, pretty bad news if I'm being honest. I didn't cover it right away because I didn't want to rush into this topic not knowing the longevity of the injury. But Jazz Chisholm Jr. in Game 1, trying to will this team back from the depths, scores off of an Anthony Volpe ground out from second base, and in the process dives headfirst into home plate, jamming his left arm. After the game, we thought there would be some good news because x-rays were negative. They went to get MRIs done, and the MRI showed a UCL injury. Now, I've been holding my breath for the past 2 days, and we finally get some news on it. He's on the 10-day IL. The Yankees believe they have dodged a bit of a bullet. Doesn't seem to require surgery, but that can change. 3 to 4 weeks seems like the timetable. If we're going to stick to that 3 to 4 week period, that to me sounds like they are going to position him to come back somewhere on the homestand between September 9th and 14th. Now, we've been through this before with the Yankees and injury timetable. They usually don't always go as expected. Last year with Jason Dominguez, we thought, oh, he just has a little bit of an arm cramp. He's fine. Next thing you know, he tore his UCL, and now he's not even back in the majors yet. At the best, he will be coming back within the second week of September. If we're going to be more realistic about this injury, it would probably be closer to the end of September going into the postseason. And this really sucks for an offense that was really relying on rejuvenated power of Jazz Chisholm. He got here and he brought life to his own play, but he also brought life to a team that desperately needed it. Going into that Boston series where we traded for him, this team was spiraling. We didn't know where we'd be at this point. A lot of people were losing faith. He comes in, and although he only played 1 game, he provided a spark that this team desperately needed. And then going into that Philly series, best team in baseball at that point, going into their home field, you say to yourself, if this team is back, we win the series. Well, Jazz almost carried us to a sweep of that series. And then the train's been rolling ever since. Yes, the Yankees' results have been up and down. They lost the series to LA. They almost lost the series to Texas, but Jazz's play has been consistent throughout. He has developed a great way to play third base. It did cost him in the Texas game and almost costed us that game. But overall, for a guy who's never played third base in his 9-year professional career and his entire major league career, he has been phenomenal at third base. He's provided a speed element we haven't had. He's provided an athleticism in the field that we desperately need at third base. And that will be missed throughout this time period that he's out. Hopefully, the Yankees are correct in this timetable. They are talking to other doctors, so this could change by the time I put this video out. For the time being, we're going to have to rely on DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera to really carry that third base spot, and maybe Oswald Peraza actually gets some burn. And I'm hoping he does, because Oswald Peraza has kind of been a guy who's gotten the short end of the stick. He came up in 2022 and even got a start in the postseason. 2 starts in the postseason because Isaiah Kiner-Falefa shit the bed in the ALCS, costed us a game in Houston. So the 2 games that were home against Houston in the ALCS, Oswald Peraza started. Did he hit very well? Not especially, but his fielding did look a bit better than what Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's was. And ever since that moment, he has been blocked after blocked after blocked of opportunity that he could have had to make an impact on this team. There are so many moments where you could have said, this is a time where you could have given Oswald the keys. You could have given Oswald an opportunity to earn a spot. And they've turned away from him over and over again, to the point where most of us, and me especially, wanted him traded just so we could get value for a prospect that was once highly touted in the system. Well, he gets an opportunity right now to impress and hopefully can build up some trade value, because I don't see a long-term future with Oswald Peraza, knowing that Jazz is back next year and then the year after that. This is going to be an important moment for Oswald if he wants to be a contributor somewhere else in the future. Because if he shits the bed here, I don't know if the league is really going to give him another shot. They may look at what he's done in New York and rely on what the Yankees have seen and say, well, maybe there's nothing there. If he wants to be a guy like Miguel Andujar, who has contributed elsewhere for a long period of time since he's left, he's going to have to produce at this point. I'm hoping for his sake that he does, because I like the kid's talent. It sucks that Volpe's in his way. It sucks that there are other positions that are kind of blocked. You would have expected him to play second if that wasn't the case. They trust Gleyber. Maybe they keep him in the system, either put him at second or third next year. If Gleyber leaves, they either throw Jazz back at second base where his natural position is, throw Oswald at third, and then you got an all-young infield other than either Anthony Rizzo, or maybe an all-young infield if Ben Rice gets that spot. Or if Gleyber goes, you throw Oswald at second if you really trust Jazz at third. But either way, this is Oswald's time to cement himself a spot on a major league roster next year, whether it's here or it's elsewhere. This is his moment. Hopefully Aaron Boone actually gives it to him, because right now he's coming in against lefty. Maybe that is true, maybe it's not. We've seen in the past he come up and then ride the bench for a little bit, then just go back down. Hopefully this time Aaron Boone comes to his senses and lets the young kid play, especially during this weaker part of our schedule. Without Jazz, this could be a difficult time for this team in terms of driving in runners in scoring position, because Jazz has been stuck in the middle of the lineup and not the leadoff spot like everyone predicted, because he has come up so big in runners in scoring position. When he gets up with runners in scoring position, he has the best average on the team besides Soto and Judge. He's been outstanding at clearing the bases. So he's been stuck in the heart of the order or just below the heart of the order to help clean the mess that maybe Austin Wells and Giancarlo can make. Now, without that security blanket at that 6 hole, where do the Yankees go from here to drive in runs? Against Chicago in Game 3, it was Austin Wells who drove in the runs. But for a lot of that game, there were runners on base over and over again and nothing being produced. This team had to get a kickstart from Oswaldo Cabrera tagging from second base all the way home just to tie it in the 6th. Against a team like Chicago, you should not need to be motivated like that. Jazz was an important cog in this machine, and it's going to be interesting to see how this team moves forward for the next few weeks without him. But don't get me wrong, this was a good trade from Brian Cashman. And when Jazz comes back, he will produce. He's got protection in this lineup. He gets pitched to, and it seems like he is a guy who is built for the bright lights. To get a guy like Jazz Chisholm for not that big of a prospect pool. Yes, we gave up Ramirez, the catcher. He's a good prospect, but he is being blocked by Austin Wells. Was he ever going to get to the majors here? Probably not, unless you wanted to platoon Ramirez with Wells, which in that case, would you really want to prospect hug a guy whose maximum potential on this team was a platoon? No, you turned him into a guy who's at his max was an all-star and is showing now all-star potential. Do not blame Brian Cashman because Jazz decided to slide headfirst into home plate and got sat on by the catcher who was just making a play, and he got his arm all caught up. It's a freak injury that doesn't prove Jazz's injury history, because Jazz's usual injury history is in the legs. This is, again, a freak arm injury. There's nothing to really blame in this scenario. It just sucks. Some people have to accept sometimes there's not a real rhyme or reason for something happening. It's not Brian Cashman's fault because Jazz has had injuries in the past. It's not Jazz's fault for being injury prone because this isn't part of what's been injured in the past. This is just a freak accident that sucks. And we'll see where they go from here. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. If you're new here, hit that sub button. Aaron Judge is one of the best power hitters of all time, and I can't wait to see what he does for the rest of the season. Hopefully you're there for the ride with me. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.